yesterday's episode, the trend of Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers, Angel Reese, aka the Young and Turnt squad. But one of the statistics that really stood out to me is the plus minus. So Caitlin Clark has the highest plus minus of anyone on Team USA at 104. And when you talk about Caitlin Clark and what kind of value she adds to the floor, that's just it. It doesn't even matter if Caitlin Clark is having a 30-point game or a 10-point game. When she is on the court, it changes the entire energy of the game. The defense switches up, the pace of the game.
Look at those numbers. Caitlin Clark leading Team USA in plus minus at 104, averaging 20.3 minutes per game, and topping the efficiency chart at 15.5. Paige Bueckers second in steals at 2.3 per game. Angel Reese dominating the boards with 8 rebounds per contest. These aren't just good stats for rookies. These are the best numbers on the entire roster. And here's what makes this fascinating. 2 of these 3 players weren't even in the league a year ago. Yet they're outperforming Olympic veterans in international competition. So the question becomes unavoidable. If these young players are this dominant now, why wasn't Caitlin Clark good enough for the 2024 Paris Olympics?
Them don't. And just yesterday was the first time that Caitlin Clark ever started for Team USA, which if you watch my last episode, you know how I feel about that. I do think it's kind of crazy that it took 4 games to start her. And the only 2 players who hadn't started up until then was Caitlin Clark and Ray Burrell. And Ray Burrell was a last minute addition to this team. But anyway, Caitlin Clark made her first start for Team USA against New Zealand. And the starting lineup was Kelsey Plum, Dearica Hamby, Chelsea Gray, Caitlin Clark, and Monique Billings.
When Clark finally got her first start against New Zealand, the lineup told you everything about how Team USA views position flexibility. Kelsey Plum, Dearica Hamby, Chelsea Gray, Caitlin Clark, and Monique Billings, fans on social media immediately started joking. Are they really starting Caitlin Clark at power forward? When does this experiment end? Because here's the thing about that lineup. Clark wasn't running point guard. She was being slotted into yet another position that doesn't maximize her skill set, and they still beat New Zealand by nearly 60 points, which raises an uncomfortable question. If she's this effective playing out of position with limited touches, what happens when you actually let her run the offense?
Chelsea Gray continues to start for Team USA. She has started in every single game, and I feel like that's probably just a seniority thing. It's just like a veteran thing, a political thing for Team USA. And I even hate bringing it up because I actually really like Chelsea Gray. I think her game is pretty entertaining. Chelsea Gray is not at the peak of her career at this time. She has battled with a lot of injuries, but she has been playing really well for Team USA.
Chelsea Gray has started every single game for Team USA in this tournament. Every one. And look, I need to be careful here because I genuinely respect Chelsea Gray's game. She's a crafty point guard with excellent court vision, and her playoff performances for the Aces have been legendary at times. But we're not talking about 2022 Chelsea Gray. We're talking about a player who's battled multiple injuries and is clearly not at the peak of her career anymore. So why is she starting over players who are statistically outperforming her? The answer is probably what you'd expect. Seniority, veteran presence, political considerations. It's the same reasoning that kept Diana Taurasi on Olympic rosters long after her prime. Team USA loves their legacy picks. But here's what that approach costs you. The opportunity to build chemistry with the players who will actually carry this program for the next decade. And the numbers don't lie. Gray's been solid in these qualifiers, but she's not leading any major statistical categories. Meanwhile, the 3 youngest players on the roster are dominating the stat sheet in almost every meaningful metric.
But Monique Billings has come out with so much energy. She's doing all the dirty work on the court. She runs the floor really well. She's also been one to run that high screen and roll with Caitlin at the point, and she rolls really well. She has really good hands. So Monique has been someone who really impressed me, and I wasn't expecting her to play as well as she has been playing. And then leading in steals per game is Paige Bueckers at 2.3 steals per game. And you'll kind of notice a trend here, you guys. Caitlin Clark is leading in some of the biggest stat categories. And then you also have Angel Reese and Paige Bueckers, who are 2 of the other young stars in the WNBA, also leading in the stat categories. So if you want to look forward to the future of the WNBA, the future of Team USA, you have the 3 players right here. And that is something that is just So exciting for this league.
Let's talk about what these FIBA games have revealed about the refereeing situation in the WNBA, because it's striking how few complaints we've heard during this entire tournament. Think about your typical WNBA game. Every single broadcast features multiple segments where fans, players, and coaches are arguing about officiating. Controversial calls trend on social media. Post-game press conferences turn into referendum on referee performance. But in these FIBA qualifiers, silence. And it's not because the referees are letting them play. These FIBA officials are actually calling the game tighter than WNBA refs. They blow the whistle faster, they have zero tolerance for arguing, and they'll hit you with a technical foul before you finish your first complaint. Remember that opening game against Senegal? The opposing coach got ejected for arguing with the officials in a qualifier game. That would never happen that quickly in the WNBA. The difference is consistency and control. FIBA referees don't let the game spiral into physical chaos. When Caitlin Clark gets fouled on a three-point attempt, they call it immediately. No debates about whether the contact was incidental, no makeup calls 3 possessions later, just straightforward officiating that doesn't become the story of the game. And maybe that's the lesson here. WNBA fans aren't inherently complainers. Players aren't inherently whiners. But when the officiating is inconsistent, when it feels like different players get different standards, when hard fouls go uncalled while soft contact gets whistled, you create an environment where everyone's focused on the refs instead of the basketball.
Obviously, Caitlin Clark came into the league, immediately became the face of the league. But then the following year, you have Paige Bueckers coming in, who I would argue is already one of the top guards in the WNBA. And then you have someone like Angel Reese, who is absolutely unstoppable on the boards. Like, there's nobody better than her on the boards in the W. And we've seen it from these FIBA games. Like, when have they ever televised FIBA Women's World Cup qualifier games in Puerto Rico? When have they ever televised those? Ever in the history? Please tell me. Please tell me when those have been picked up by TNT and HBO Max. And so many people are tuning into these games, even though we all know that Team USA is probably going to win by 30, 40, 50, 60 points in each game. Like, the buzz around these young players is so high. And that's why I know we haven't talked about the CBA recently, and I'm still not going to, but please get this CBA done. Please get it done. There are so many fans that are so invested in these young players. They are super exciting to watch. We collectively, as a fan base, I don't care if you hate Caitlin Clark, if you hate Angel Reese, if you hate Paige Bueckers, like, I know all the fan bases kind of feud with one another. I don't care what side of the aisle that you're on. You have to admit that when these 3 players are on the floor together, that is the most exciting lineup, regardless of what else is going on. And when these 3 players share the ball with one another, they have proven to be really dominant. And I did actually want to show you guys this little highlight mix together that FIBA basketball put together. And it says AR, CC, and PB sharing the ball. USA's future is in great hands. So Paige Bueckers passes the ball to Angel Reese. Angel Reese brings it down the court and goes in for a tough layup. And then Monique Billings with a tough pass to Paige Bueckers, and then out to Caitlin Clark for a wide open 3. Then Monique Billings here sets the high screen, and then Caitlin Clark dishes.
Now I need to show you something that's causing absolute chaos online. FIBA posted a fan vote asking who should be MVP of the San Juan qualifying tournament. Just a simple poll for engagement. What happened next perfectly captures the insanity of WNBA fandom in 2025. When I first saw the poll this morning, it was showing percentages. Caitlin Clark had about 36% of the vote and was in first place. A Spanish player, Raquel Carrera, was second with maybe 6%. Normal poll numbers for an international tournament where one team has all the star power. Then the post went viral. By 3:30 p.m. Central Time, they'd switched from showing percentages to showing raw vote totals, and the numbers became absolutely absurd. Paige Bueckers jumped to 150,000 votes. Caitlin Clark hit 131,000. Angel Reese climbed to 18,000. This happened in less than 2 hours. There's no question what's happening here. The fans are botting the votes, All three fan bases are running up the numbers with automated voting, and the rate keeps accelerating as I'm watching it. The top 5 players are now all Americans: Beckers, Clark, Reese, Ryan Howard, and Jackie Young. Every single international player has been buried by the bot wars. Sorry to the Spanish team, sorry to New Zealand, sorry to everyone else competing in this tournament. You simply cannot compete with American stan culture. These WNBA fans are legitimately unhinged, and I mean that with a strange mix of horror and admiration.
It to Angel Reese for the layup, Paige Beckers bringing the ball, running the court, then to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark dribbles in, kicks it back to Paige Beckers for 3. And that's what I'm talking about, you guys. If we see more plays like this, if these girls are able to share the ball the way that they have, like we've seen spurts of it. There have definitely been moments in some of these games where I'm like, okay, they're playing a bit selfish. What is going on? But when Team USA shares the ball like this, when they have players on the court who all want to play fast, run the break, shoot wide open threes, like that's such an exciting brand of basketball. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited that we get to see these 3 young players play together. I'm excited to see them. Hopefully they all play in the World Cup, which is coming up. I believe it's in September or October this year. Anyway, coming this fall. And also if we look forward to the 28 Olympics. Now I will say, with all of the statistical categories that I've just shown you guys, I've shown you guys, you know, Caitlin's statistics, and even some of these games like haven't even been her greatest games and she hasn't even gotten that many touches. It does remind me of the fact that she wasn't invited to the 2024 Olympics because she wasn't good enough.
Except here's what actually happened in Paris without her. Team USA won the gold medal, which was expected. They were always going to win. But the games weren't the dominant performances we're seeing now. They struggled against Belgium in the semifinals, winning by just 5 points. The offense looked stagnant at times. The pace was slower than what we know this team can play, and the television ratings told the real story. Viewership for the women's basketball tournament was solid, but not spectacular. The buzz that surrounded women's college basketball during March Madness, the momentum that Caitlin Clark had built throughout her final season at Iowa, all of that energy dissipated during the Olympics. The casual fans who'd gotten invested in Clark's story had no reason to tune in. She wasn't there. Meanwhile, back in the United States, those same casual fans were waiting for the WNBA season to resume after the Olympic break, waiting to see if Clark could translate her college success to the professional level. The league had a golden opportunity to capture that audience during the Olympics, to show them that the best women's basketball in the world was worth watching even without their favorite player. Instead, they chose legacy over growth. They chose veteran comfort over building the future, and they missed the chance to introduce millions of new fans to players like Breanna Stewart and Aja Wilson while they were at their absolute peak. Now look at these FIBA qualifiers. TNT and HBO Max are broadcasting games where Team USA wins by 50 points. Games that would normally air on obscure streaming platforms that nobody can find. And people are actually watching. Because Clark is playing. Because Beckers is playing. Because Reese is playing. Because the young core that represents the future of American basketball is finally on the court together. The plus-minus numbers don't lie. When Caitlin Clark is on the floor, the entire dynamic of the game changes. Opposing defenses drop into box-and-one schemes. They run full-court presses to slow down the pace. They switch their entire defensive philosophy because one player forces them to adjust everything. That kind of gravity doesn't show up in the basic box score, but it shows up in a plus-minus of 104 through 4 games. And it's not just Clark. Watch how Angel Reese attacks the offensive glass when she's in the game. She's averaging 8 rebounds in limited minutes, and half of those are coming on the offensive end. She's creating second-chance opportunities that turn 10-point leads into 20-point blowouts. That's winning basketball that doesn't require perfect shooting percentages or flashy assists. Paige Beckers is doing the dirty work on defense that allows everyone else to gamble for steals. Her 2.3 steals per game leads the team, but more importantly, she's the one picking up opposing point guards full court. She's the one fighting through screens. She's the one making life miserable for whoever she's guarding. And because she's doing that, players like Kelsey Plum can cheat into passing lanes and create easy transition opportunities. This is what modern basketball looks like when you let your best players play together. Fast pace, three-point shooting, defensive versatility, and players who can handle multiple positions. It's the same formula that's made the NBA more entertaining over the past decade, and it's the formula that will carry
USA basketball through the next 2 Olympic cycles.
The 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles are going to be the moment where this young core takes center stage. Clark will be 26 years old and entering her prime. Beckers will be 24 and probably the best two-way guard in the world. Reese will be 26 and completely unstoppable on the boards. Add in players like Cameron Brink when she returns from injury, and you've got a team that could win by even larger margins than previous Olympic squads. But here's what makes the Paris decision so frustrating. We could have started building that chemistry a year earlier. We could have given these players meaningful minutes together in the highest pressure environment in basketball. We could have let them learn how to play together against the best international competition, not just in qualifiers against overmatched opponents. Instead, we're watching them figure it out now, in games that don't really matter, against teams that have no chance of winning. And yes, they're still dominant. Yes, the statistics are incredible. But imagine what these numbers would look like if they'd spent the past year developing chemistry instead of the past 2 weeks. The CBA negotiations are happening right now, and there's real concern about whether we'll have a WNBA season in 2025. Players want better salaries, better travel conditions, better revenue sharing. Owners are pushing back on costs. It's the same labor dispute that every professional sports league goes through eventually. But here's what both sides need to understand. The window for capitalizing on this young talent is smaller than you think. Caitlin Clark is must-watch television right now. Paige Beckers is must-watch television right now. Angel Reese is must-watch television right now. In 3 years, there will be new rookies, new storylines, new players demanding attention. The moment to maximize this core is happening right now, and every month without basketball is a month of momentum lost. These FIBA qualifiers are proof of concept. People will watch women's basketball when the stars are playing. They'll watch blowouts, they'll watch qualifiers, they'll watch games that tip off at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Because they're invested in these players and they want to see them succeed. So get the CBA done. Get these players back on the court. And for the love of basketball, stop making selection decisions based on seniority and legacy when you have younger players who are statistically better in every meaningful category. The future of USA basketball is already here. Stop treating them like they need to wait their turn. The Spain game is tomorrow, and Team USA will probably win by 40 points. We'll be live for that game, watching the same dominant performance we've seen in every qualifier so far. But the real question isn't whether they'll win. It's whether the people making decisions about this program have finally figured out what the rest of us already know. The young core isn't the future anymore. They're the present.
Still, I don't think I'll ever get over that because I think it was such a missed opportunity and she was absolutely good enough. And the fact that she is out there on this Team USA as the best player on this Team USA team, like the fact that she's the best player now and they didn't bring her because she wasn't good enough is just absolutely
And they've been ready for a while now.
Beyond me. Obviously, we know that there were other reasons why they didn't bring her. If they were bringing players for legacy purposes or because they were veterans or because they had experience, like whatever it may be, don't say that you're bringing the best 12 players because you didn't. And something else I did want to mention is we have not heard anybody complain about the referees during this qualifying tournament. Isn't that crazy? I feel like in every WNBA game, everybody is complaining about the referees. I feel like fans haven't had much to say at all. And what we've also noticed with these FIBA referees, they are so quick to blow the whistle. They are so quick to also call a technical foul. Like, do you guys remember that first game? It was Team USA against Team Senegal. The coach got kicked out of that game for arguing with the referee. The referee will call a technical foul so much quicker than we see it in the WNBA. We haven't seen any